Bang, baby.
What's up, guys?
How we doing?
Recovery Lab Live.
Awesome.
Another session.
Another Friday. It's snowy Friday here in New York. Roads are getting nasty, so we're gonna keep this one high and tight today. So we're gonna start off with an inquiry, a question. Our good friend Yao, Panda Powers, commented earlier, and so we trashed the topic of the day that we had planned, which we really didn't have planned, and in lieu of Yao's question, which was, how do you go about finding a mentor and creating that relationship, and how do you bring value to that person? I think a very Gary V-esque question, so I was flattered to be even asked a question like that.
And I think I have a great answer for you. And I think the answer is something that you may not expect. I don't think you can find a mentor.
Right.
I think it's something that just kind of happens.
Sure.
And the idea that a mentorship has to be this personal relationship is a little different. I think, in my opinion, a mentorship could be just a couple subtle interactions that you learn. You learn a couple lessons. But from my personal experience, I use a couple of virtual mentors, and
like who?
Yeah. Virtual mentors such as Casey Neistat,
sure,
Gary Vaynerchuk, Tim Ferriss.
Cool.
And for different reasons. Gary Vaynerchuk had the practicality. Casey was the entertainment.
Sure.
Philosophy. Tim Ferriss was the teacher, and he gave you all these. So I used these mentors because I didn't have one that I wanted in my field. This is coming from someone who used to Google how to find a mentor.
Really?
Because if you're not in a situation where you have that guiding light in your field, I used to Google how to find a mentor, and then after a while, it's something that comes upon you.
Right. Truth be told, the way I kind of actually found Anthony, quote unquote, found him, was I went to that school pretending that I was interested in enrolling in like an acupuncture program or a Chinese medicine program, just to see what they were all about and to see what the curriculum was like and to see what they do for their students, and it ended up being pretty cool and created a relationship with their student services administrator.
Right.
And then I called her up, I said, hey, listen, I have this need. I want to start this fellowship program. Would you be willing to let me put a flyer up in the school? And she was like, absolutely. That's wonderful. Anytime we can get student opportunities, we love to do it. So I brought it down. She approved it. We hung it up. The next day, he DM'd me on Instagram asking me what the flyer was about. And by that weekend, I had you in for an interview.
Was it the next day?
It was like a couple days later.
This
it was
is a perfect
not
example of applying a principle that I learned from a virtual mentor. Gary Vee preaches micro speed, macro patience. So in applying that to real life, I had followed Mike last year around this time, right on Instagram. I saw his content. I was like, this stuff is awesome. This is what I want to do. And I watched his stuff. I consumed it. I was like, this is really cool. Did some more of my own research. 11 months later, I saw a banner. And the second I saw the banner, I used micro speed. So in the micro being day to day, I saw the banner and I acted upon it right away. But it took 10, 11 months to actually see that opportunity.
Come to fruition, yeah.
So it took patience to see that, and then boom. So yeah, that's pretty cool how that's
awesome.
Tied in. Lateral meniscus tear rehab post-op.
So he's asking this question because he had surgery today.
I know.
Alex, wishing you the best, my friend.
Yeah,
I hope you're feeling all right. Probably feels fine right now post-op. Wait till that nerve block wears off, though. You'll be a little sore. Here's what I would say. Right now, you're in the immediate post-op phase. Consider it a new injury. All right, that's a traumatic injury. So get on top of your nutrition, right? Your tumor supplementations are really helpful. Make sure you're on the fish oil. Eat the rainbow, adequate protein. Make sure you're giving your body what it needs to get through the healing process, okay? Use gravity to your advantage. Right now, icing is okay. You know, so this is one of those times that you think I'm an anti-ice guy. I'm going to say, throw the ice bag on there. Because not only will it help bring your pain down, in that first 24-hour period, it can help prevent some secondary cell death, you know, from all the trauma that's in that area. Elevate, get the ankle moving. You can start to do some, we call them quad sets, or really just isometric contractions. Squeeze the quad, squeeze the hamstring, squeeze the glute. Just keep that mind-muscle connection firing. You know, so even just a simple act of like flexing the quad and relaxing, you're not doing any harm to that surgical site. You're just keeping that, you know, the people that let their leg completely rest and they don't do anything, they're going to atrophy much faster, and they're going to have a lot harder time restoring that neuromuscular connection post-op, and that's where we need to end up using things like the Russian current or the resistance setting on the complex to kind of juice that a little bit more.
Do you think you could find pain when he's doing those isometric contractions?
Yeah, you're going to get
find pain,
for
and
sure.
That's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
As long as he's not loading it.
Right. You're in a non-weight bearing position. Right. Yes, you're going to flex that quad and it's going to be sore because the knee is super, super swollen.
Right.
You know, if you can get your leg elevated and just pump that ankle up and down, right? You know, just flex your ankle up and down and just get that calf, you know, do circles. That'll also help drain some of that swelling out with gravity and also that muscle activation. So that's, Alex, right now, that's your mission for the next 48 hours is to manage the swelling, manage the pain, quality nutrition, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're sleeping. If you're not sleeping, throw some melatonin down, get some sleep. And then, you know, introduce your quad sets, and then maybe by the end of this week, depending on if they repaired or removed, will change the situation. So I'm sure I will get an email from Doc shortly. You know, he's usually pretty good about letting me know if one of my guys gets the knife, but we're wishing you the best weekend. Feel better, and let us know if there's anything you need, brother.
Yeah, rest up, Alex. You're in good hands, and go ahead and apply that advice. What's the best corrective exercise for hip internal rotation? So the best corrective. Boom, light bulb.
Man, you know, I think there is no one best corrective, you know, and I think this past week has kind of shown us, you know, where I usually start people with my go-tos. Like I have not a set program, but I have a basic program that I like for this criteria, right? If someone's lacking hip internal rotation, maybe secondary to some low back pain or instability, I'll have different like starting points depending on what the case is. I really like hip extension work, glute work, you know, in terms of like activation, you know, because you're going to reciprocally inhibit the opposing musculature.
Right.
You know, so using your nervous system to its advantage can definitely be helpful. Again, my approach has always been manual therapy and corrective exercise. I think if you can open up that range and then use it, you're going to be much better off in the long run in terms of keeping it. So you want to, the biggest thing is, and I think people miss this all the time, they go for the most painful stretch, but can you be active in that stretch?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I work with a pro athlete. We're working on hip extension in a really aggressive couch stretch, and I go, hey, can you squeeze your glutes in that aggressive couch stretch? And he couldn't do it. I was like, so that stretch isn't doing you any good except for creating a threat to your brain right now. All it's telling you is it's painful. Your body's not accepting that. So we regressed it to the point where, so lowering that leg down to the point where, okay, now he can be active, let's start there. And then we can increase the amount of tension that we're going to put on there. But be active in those ranges. You know, so for Sam's case specifically, Sam's just one of those athletes that's just really tight. Right. You know, he's just a tightly bound guy. So he responds really, really well to manual therapy and foam rolling and stretching and lacrosse ball stuff and band distractions. You know, but then we, you know, obviously doing that stability work on the back end to kind of activate some stuff definitely will be helpful.
Question. How would you treat tendonitis compared to tendinosis? And can the ligament or fascia ever calcify?
That was Sam's question? Look at him.
My man's, he's reading
Man,
textbooks.
he is getting knowledge. Okay, so the fundamental difference between tendonitis and tendinosis is the first thing you need to explore. Tendonitis is just that your tendon is inflamed. It's not telling us why it is that way, it is that way. That's all it means. It's a catch-all term. Tendinosis means that you have like micro tearing in the tendon itself. Generally speaking, they're longitudinal micro tears. So the way that I will explain this to people, and And I'm going to use a nice little visual for you guys here. So imagine this is, green strap is your tendon, okay? And what ends up happening in our bodies, especially around like hard bony endpoints, for example, around the outside of your ankle, that tendon might change direction rapidly, and then it's like rubbing over, you know, basically rubbing over a corner or a bone or a bony landmark. And essentially, think about if you took a piece of twine and did that, what would happen? It starts to splay out, it starts to fray. That's what tendinosis is essentially. It's a degenerative condition. It usually happens when you've been in tendonitis for a while, and then the tendon actually starts to break down physiologically. It's not a good scenario to be in. Is it treatable? Absolutely. And to be honest with you, my treatment tactic is virtually the same for both, even though the special precautions is a bit different. Bring blood flow to the table, so my manual therapies are still on board with that. Find the cause that you're loading that tendon inappropriately and start addressing it. Okay, so whether that's tendonitis or tendinosis doesn't matter. You want to find the dysfunction elsewhere that could be contributing and start addressing some of those movement issues.
Cool.
The special precaution that you want to take with tendinosis, you don't want to like crazy overload them or do crazy heavy eccentric work with it, because it can definitely irritate it more and possibly even rupture. Okay, so you want to introduce stress a bit more gradually with your tendinosis cases, where a grade 1 tendonitis you might be able to be a lot more aggressive. You know, those would be the fundamental differences. Can tissue calcify? Yes, it can. It's called myositis ossificans. Essentially, calcium is a byproduct of the healing process. And if you are not moving, and you will see this commonly in people who have soft tissue injuries that are immobilized for a long period of time, or maybe they have soft tissue and bony injuries, so that's why they're immobilized.
Yeah.
Basically, the calcium starts to kind of build up, and essentially it hardens into bony type of tissue within the muscle, within the soft tissue. Not fun either. That's where like massage, even for things like contusions a few days after, massage work and manual therapy and getting that person moving so that that stuff can kind of like get absorbed by the bloodstream and be dealt with by your body.
Cool.
So that,
Thrower's 10 system, upper body / shoulder for accessory work after main lifts.
the shoulder 10.
Yeah,
you could do that, man. I mean, it's a template program.
To keep the shoulder healthy.
You know, crossover symmetry, the
shoulder 10?
shoulder 10. It's basically like crossover symmetry.
Oh, okay.
It's like 10 exercises, you know, some dumbbell stuff, some band work, your scapular work. Listen, I'm a fan of all that stuff, J-bands, crossover symmetry, the shoulder 10. They're all really good. They're all systems in and of themselves, but remember, that's the same program that everybody gets. So it's not specific, meaning if you've got certain imbalances, you want to be specific to your imbalances. So yes, are you hurting yourself by doing your Big 10 exercises? No, of course not. As accessory work, I don't love the term accessory work. I use it a lot because that's what people know. I think if you're doing any exercise, whether it's fitness or training or rehab related, it should have a reason behind it. Mm-hmm. And if it has a reason behind it, it's not accessory. You know, like I consider bicep curls accessory work. You don't really need them.
Yeah.
If you want to do them to like accentuate the guns, then go for it, man. Watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out now.
Care.
But yeah, I mean, accessory work, you know, main lift accessory work, I mean, that was popularized, I think, by Jim Wendler, which was like one of the first like programs like purchased like online back in the day, the 531 program. You ever hear that?
No.
You know, he kind of popularized the main lift for the day and then your accessory work after that. And so the accessory work can change, you know, all the time, but your big lift is going to be your big lift. Mm-hmm. Again, it's common terminology, so I do stick with what people know. It makes it easier for them and for me.
Cool. Body balance. Thank you guys so much.
You're most welcome,
your content,
brother.
Mike. You guys are an inspiration.
Thank you, man.
Very
really
much.
Appreciate the love and the support. You know, you know, all of this is nothing without you guys supporting it. So, you know, anything I can do to give back, and if there's something specific you guys want to see, let me know, because I'm always looking for ideas for new content. So if there's something specific you're dealing with and you want to see us do a video, let us know and we'll do it.
Hey Mike, how do you describe to patients what RockTape does in a way that they understand it?
So the first thing when people ask, I always say, and it's become our favorite little thing, is that it's like a neurological hug. You know, in the same way that like compression feels good on a joint, the RockTape, it's a feel good thing, okay? It helps promote blood flow. It helps promote the feeling of safety and stability. And it's a no downside thing. So I am very honest with people. I tell them it's not going to fix anything. You know, it's going to augment the treatment that I'm doing on you now and kind of keep that feel-good vibe happening for the next couple of days. There are cases where I use it for biofeedback. You know, like people really struggling with their postural awareness. I'll tape them so they're here, so if they slouch, they feel the tension on the tape. That's biofeedback. I'm just using the tape. There's a million different ways to use it. If people are like, I really don't want it, then I just don't do it. You know, I don't like, it's not a miracle cure by any means. It's a means to an end. And I try to treat it just like that. It's a no downside, easy application. It is very helpful. People really like it. They feel better, and better is better to me. So I'm all for it.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. I mean, it's not hurting anyone.
No. I mean, even look at what they say on the box. You know, they keep it nice and short. Reduces muscle fatigue and promotes blood flow for faster recovery. Aids in injury treatment, right? So I'm not trying to sell some magical pill here. Strong adhesive, proven in multiple Ironman events. Okay, that's not really kind of treatment-wise. But okay, so in terms of treatment, what they're advertising is accelerating blood flow to help reduce fatigue and helps promote lymph drainage to remove toxins produced by the body, which I have photos of people with like quad contusions that I've done lymphatic drainage tape on them, and where you peel the tape off there's no bruising, and in the surrounding areas there is. So anecdotally I can definitely tell you it works. There is plenty of great research, and if you do a RockTape course they share that research with you, that third-party research on it. Again, you don't need some scientific article to tell you if something worth it or not. I can tell you right now that this is worth it. You know what I mean? Because it helps people feel better and helps them move a bit better, and that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And to be perfectly honest with you, if someone's dealing with some shoulder stuff and I tape them and it gives them 1% of relief, to me that's worth it. To them that's worth it. And then if they feel more than 1%, I'm saying 1% is like a minimum. I've had people say, oh man, I really like the tape, and they ask for it because it feels good. And it's like, great. That's awesome. You know, like they don't need a research article to tell them that they feel better. So There you go. That's what it is. All right, guys. I think, you know what? Let's maybe wrap it up there. It's snowing like the dickens here in New York, and Anthony and I have to drive our cars home, so I don't want to keep him any longer.
Cars, not trucks.
So, yeah, exactly. So, thank you guys so much for coming down. We really appreciate the time you spent watching these videos and interacting with us. It's always a lot of fun for us.
It really is.
If you're not following this dude on Instagram, at Cranzo_LNT. You can follow Amp on Instagram at Amp_athlete. You can follow me on Instagram at MikeSell_ATC if you're not already. You guys better be. And visit us online, ampathletes.com/recovery lab. Outside of that, guys, have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.